everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Frankie and today I'm going to be going through all the books that I am planning on reading in the month of September. If you saw my August wrap up, which I posted just before I posted this video, so go check it out if you have not, then you already know that I did not get to a lot of the books that I was planning on reading in the month of August. And so as a result, I am going to be carrying over a lot of books from that TBR to this month's TBR, so you're going to see some repeats from last month that I'm not going to go really into depth about, and if you really want to hear me talk about them a little bit more, you could go check out last month's August TBR, and it'll pretty much be the exact same thing that I would plan to say about those books. So I have 10 books on my TBR this month, which is sort of reflective of the fact that I read 10 books last month. I don't know realistically how many of them I'm going to get through because I have school starting and it's my first year of college, so I don't really know how the workload is actually going to be. I'm really worried it's going to be really hard, and I'm worried that I'm going to have almost no time to read. So maybe I will get through all 10 of these, maybe I won't, who knows. So like last month, I have 3 piles here. One of them are books that I'm going to be reading for 3 book clubs, 4 technically, that I'm participating in this month. Second pile are books that I have from my 2020 TBR, and the third pile are books that are just on my physical TBR that I want to get through really quickly. Knowing me, this TBR will definitely be interrupted by a ton of library books that come in and I'm going to have to read them. That's basically what happened last month and why I didn't get through a lot of the books I planned to. But you know, that's okay. I like to be spontaneous. I like to do things that I have not planned. So, you know, I'm not mad about it. If I don't get through all these books, I won't be mad about it. Okay, I'm gonna stop rambling now and just jump right into it. The first book that I'm planning to read for a book club this month is A Song of Wraiths and Ruins by Roseanne A. Brown. I'm going to be reading this for the Crusty Book Club and also the Black Hotties Book Club. They're both doing it, so you know, it's like a 2-for-1. This is a YA fantasy that has been getting a lot of hype recently. It's like an enemies to lovers story about these 2 characters who want to kill each other for reasons I don't really understand. Then I guess that they fall in love from that. I don't know a lot about this book, as you can probably tell, but it is getting so much hype, and as a result, I'm super excited to read it. Next up, I'm going to be reading Real Life by Brandon Taylor. I'm going to be reading this with a book club from, well, my real life, I guess. Wow, how like fitting. From what I understand, this is a contemporary novel about a group of friends who attend a Midwestern university, and they are forced to confront themselves and their relationships with each other after some sort of encounter with a straight white classmate. That's kept pretty vague in the synopsis of this book. I'm really excited to read this. Some of the people in my book club have already started this and they say it's phenomenal. I've heard so many people say that this book is phenomenal and I'm so excited to read it, and I'm really looking forward to getting started. Last up in the books that I'm reading for my various book clubs is Middle Game by Seanan McGuire. This is for another book club that I am participating in my real life. This is a sci-fi novel about these twins who are not exactly human. That's what it says on the back. And then there's also this like alchemist who is trying to turn them into gods, basically, which sounds very intriguing. I've heard so many good things about this, mainly from Books and Lala. She loves talking about this book and I love her, so of course I listen to her recommendations. I just got it in the mail, it just came yesterday, and I am beyond excited to read it. I think I'm going to start reading it after I finish the book that I'm currently reading. Okay, next up are books from my 2020 TBR. Most of these I have already talked about in my August TBR. There's only one new edition that I'm going to go through real quick, and then I'm going to quickly run through the other 3 books that I'm planning. Again, if you want to see me talk a little bit more about them in detail, you can go check out my August TBR because I did talk about them there. But the one book that I did not talk about is IQ84 by Haruki Murakami. This is a sci-fi novel, I think. It might be fantasy, I'm not even sure. Based on 1984 by George Orwell, and it's set in Japan, and that's pretty much all I know about it. I know what you're thinking. Frankie, this is your first semester of college. Why are you reading this literally 1,000-page book? Aren't you going to totally exhaust yourself? And to that I say yes, I probably will, but I am only planning on reading the first half of this, so like it's like composed of like 4 like books, the entire big book. So I think I'm only gonna read the first 2 books this month and then hopefully get to the last 2 books next month. But I'm really excited to read this book. This is one of my dad's favorite books, and he and I tend to have pretty similar taste. So I think that I will like it, and I'm really looking forward to reading it and finally tackling this gigantic monster of a book. Yeah. Okay, last 3 2020 TBR books are books that I already talked about. Check out my August TBR if you want a more detailed description. Those 3 are All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr, On Writing by Stephen King, and The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. Okay, last 4 books are books that I have on my physical TBR. The first one of those is Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. This is a fantasy novel about this empire that collapses, and it's like this huge, like, it says world-spanning empire on Goodreads, and it collapses and a bunch of stuff happens from that, obviously. I've heard so many things about N.K. Jemisin and her writing and her fantasy, and I hear it's all amazing, so I'm really excited to get cracking into her work, and I decided to start here for no particular reason other than it was the first book that I saw by her in Barnes & Noble, so I picked it up. And yeah, I'm just really excited to read it. I also have for this month on the TBR Howl's Moving Castle by Diane Wynne Jones. This is another fantasy novel about a young woman who is cursed by the Wicked Witch of the Waste, and she has to hunt down this wizard named Howl to reverse the curse. This is obviously the foundation for the Studio Ghibli film Howl's Moving Castle, and I love that movie, so I am really excited to read the book that inspired it and to hopefully understand the plot of the movie a little more as a result. Last 2 in my September TBR, I already talked about in my August TBR, so I'm just going to show you what they are real quick. They are The Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mandel and Axiom's End by Lindsay Ellis. So yeah, I didn't get to these last month, hoping to get to them this month, and I mean, we'll just see what happens. So those are all of the books that I'm planning to read in the month of September. Like I said, who knows if I will get to any of them at all because school is starting and school is scary and stressful. But yeah, just let me know if you have read any of the books that I mentioned and what you thought of them. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you haven't already. And with that all being said, I will see you all in the next video.